The World Poker Tour. The biggest games, the greatest players, and the largest payouts on the planet. The WPT is a series of international high-stakes poker tournaments that can turn amateur players into millionaires and make professionals into superstars. With millions of dollars on the line, it's time for these 6 players to live the dream of fame, fortune, and the one thing money can't buy, a WPT title. Tonight on the World Poker Tour.
Hi, everyone. Tonight, we're on the banks of the Ohio River at the Hollywood Casino in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, for the inaugural Hollywood Poker Open. I'm Mike Sexton alongside Vince Van Patten, and this is the WPT.
And Mike, the Hollywood Casino is an absolutely spectacular new stop on the WPT. It exudes all the style and glamour of Hollywood and is becoming one of the hottest poker destinations in the Midwest.
Well, Vince, players from around the country stepped into the spotlight and put up $10,000 in cold hard cash to enter. We are now down to our final 6 players, all of whom are fighting for big money as well as that distinction to call themselves the inaugural champion of the Hollywood Poker Open.
And all 6 of these players are hoping the spotlight shines down on them. We've got 3 online pros making their first appearance under the bright lights of a WPT final table. Also, a family man out of Chicago, and in his 3rd time at a WPT final table, Chris Bell. Now, this poker pro out of North Carolina is hoping that 3 times is a charm to take home his first WPT title.
But Vance, they're all going to have to get by the chip leader, 2-time WPT champ Carlos Mortensen, a.k.a. the Matador. He's one of the greatest players in the game, and Carlos has a shot at making history here tonight with a 2nd place finish or higher. He will overtake Daniel Negreanu as the all-time money winner out here on the WPT. And if he can get the W, he will tie the Great Dane Gus Hansen with 3 WPT titles. That's a record Gus has held since season 2 of the WPT.
That's right, but if anyone can do it, the Matador is the man.
The cash, the title, and that coveted WPT Tiffany bracelet are all up for grabs tonight.
Okay, what are we waiting for? Let's watch the bluffing begin.
Okay, here we go. The final table of the inaugural Hollywood Poker Open about to get underway. We started 4 days ago with 144 players. We are now down to 6. The winner tonight going to take home nearly $400,000.
That's right. And as you can see, Carlos Mortensen, the chip leader, and he's going to start at 2,000. Blinds 10 and 20. Cards have been dealt. Action going to the Matador. Carlos Mortensen looks down at a 10-6, says, I've got nada de particular, and he's going to fold.
Action over to Ravi Ragaman. Now, there you see a couple of his college buddies. He went to the University of Illinois with these 2 guys. That's Faraz Jaka and Andy Seth. Both have made WPT final tables this season.
Yeah, Ravi, only 23 years old, out of Chicago. He's got a king 10. He's going to make it $45,000 to go. Fold by Chris Bell and Frank Callow.
Yeah, action over to the family man, Mike Mustafa. He's a poker pro out of Chicago, Illinois. There's an ace-jack offsuit, but he's coming right over the top for $125,000.
Into the short stack, Jerry Payne, poker pro out of Dayton. He folds his hand, so it goes back to Ravi.
Ravi's got a king 10 offsuit, so not the kind of hand you want to play against a re-raise, that's for sure. Ravi lays it down, but a nice over-the-top bet by Mike Mustafa there. The father of 4 girls taking down that pot.
Be impressive.
Big hand, Ravi. You might see it, I don't know.
I'll see the bluff.
It wasn't a bluff, Ravi.
Ravi says he's taken home over $2 million online in poker. That's impressive.
Well, it sure is when you're 23 years old.
Right back down to the felt. Chris Bell making his 3rd appearance at a final table here on the World Poker Tour.
Chris, a tough pro out of Raleigh, North Carolina.
And he goes out. Frank Callow also out.
Mike looks down at ace-7 offsuit, going to fold this one.
And now Jerry Payne.
From Dayton, Ohio, my hometown.
All in.
Whoa, the short stack is going all in with his ace-3, Mike.
Well, he's got the short stack, so he's making a move. And Carlos with the king 8 of clubs in the small blind folding.
And Ravi will not play, so right there. And the short stack, Jerry Payne taking down that pot.
We have a lot of fun stuff.
I only brought 4 people, but I'm from like an hour up the road, so probably a lot of people here. I can say I won at least 1 hand.
The action at the Hollywood Poker Open is just getting started.
Lots of drama at Hollywood. Don't go away.
Having a World Poker Tour in the Midwest is great because I live in Dayton. It's only an hour away, so it's a really easy drive down here. It's one advantage I have over the other 5 players left at the table. They all have to sleep in a hotel room. I get to sleep in my own bed every night.
Win my third WPT title.
Well, Barry Greenstein is eliminated. He's not going to win his third WPT title tonight. And Eric Langren, two-time winner on the World Poker Tour, is going to have to wait a while to get that third WPT title. Daniel Negreanu is not going to win his third WPT title here tonight. Freddie Deeb in dire straits. He's going to capture that third World Poker Tour title tonight.
He's not going to do it.
To win this would be awesome.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. A lot of great poker moments right there.
Well, you're right, Vince. That's the cream of the crop that try to get 3 WPT titles. Those guys you just saw failed. We'll see if Carlos Mortensen can tie Gus Hansen with 3 titles by winning tonight.
Well, he's the chip leader. 6 players remain. We're going back down to the felt. A quick fold by Mike Mustafa. Jerry Payne also folding.
Now it's around to Carlos. He's going out as well.
Ravi Raghavan, the student out of Chicago, Illinois.
And he's got 2 deuces on the button and folds them. A little surprised at that.
Let's see what Chris Bell does.
I'm all in.
He's going to go all in with an ace-5 here. And Frank Callow is going to fold.
So the all-in bet by Chris working well there.
Thank you.
Incidentally, Chris, regardless where he finishes tonight, will become the 120th WPT Poker Made millionaire. So pretty impressive.
He's got a great attitude. He's a great player. He has just missed being a superstar in the game, perhaps, but maybe he can turn that around tonight. All right, back to the table, and look at this young Jerry Payne picking up kings.
Jerry's on the short stack right now,
All in.
but picks up 2 kings and goes all in with them.
Yeah.
That's an overbet in my view. Blinds are only 10 and 20,000. Why would you bet over 300,000 here to chase everybody out?
Well, he is pushing them away. Everyone folding in a line. Only one to defeat right now would be Mike Mustafa, but he's got a pretty good ace-9.
And I'll tell you, I don't blame him for hesitating here, because when a guy goes all in like that,
You got about 300 now.
generally you put him on a small pair or like an ace and a baby card. Very rare do people bet that much money with 2 kings right up front. You want action. You want to encourage action. You don't want to discourage it. But Mike does go out.
Might have had you ace 10.
You had what?
Ace 10.
Terrible fold.
And now we're going to talk to professional poker player Brian Devonshire.
There's absolutely a difference between the live and online players. The whole approach that they take to the game is completely different. The online players are taking it from a scientific standpoint. The live players are taking it from a psychological standpoint. The online players, they're technicians of the game. They're very skilled at the fundamental play and the mathematics of the game, but they're not skilled at the psychology and the live tells and the this and that. And Carlos is a master of live players and live tells and reading hands in specific situations. Like, it doesn't matter like the overall probability of a given situation. It matters like what the hell is going on in that situation right now. And Carlos played a hand on the way to this final table where he picked a guy's bluff off with a pair of jacks on an ace queen XXX board, and you know, and there was something that he did there that I don't know what he did, but he did it, and he did it well.
Well, I think Brian makes some good points there, that the great online players are mathematical whizzes, whereas the great live game players are better at reading people and opponents.
Well, don't tell that to the great players like Jonathan Little, Faraz Jaka, also known as the Toilet, or Hippie Prahlad Friedman. All great online players, but also have great people instincts as well. But we will get back down to the game here.
Well, here Mike Mustafa picks up an ace-queen.
50.
He's going to raise it, comes in for 50,000.
Into Adam Sandler. I mean Jerry Payne, who has a 4-5 offsuit, and he mucks that.
Well, Carlos in the small blind now looks down at a queen jack. Carlos is what's known as a defender. He doesn't like to give up his blinds easily.
150.
And he's coming right over the top. Forget about calling. He is re-raising here, and he's dominated, as you can see, so could spell trouble.
Yep, Robbie going away, back on Mustafa.
Oh.
Well, Mustafa just makes the call, doesn't come back over the top. So let's see the flop. Well, flop comes king 8-6. No help to either player. Well, Carlos is going to make the continuation bet, and by doing so, he's going to cause great problems for Mike Mustafa here.
There's 140,000. He sticks out there, and now Mustafa, hitting none of that flop, has a decision to make.
You just wonder if he didn't re-raise before the flop because it's the chip leader or because it's Carlos Mortensen. But either way, he's going to have a problem continuing with this hand as the king 8-6 flop comes out there.
Here's Carlos's girlfriend, Pastora.
Because he lost the lead in this hand and allowed Carlos to take it. Carlos is going to win the pot by making the continuation bet.
1-3.
Oh, yeah, that's how it's done. Muy bien, Carlos.
Oh, boy.
1-3?
I saw you. You had a 3. You put it back.
No way.
Well, the Matador could have got gored.
Nice hand, Mr. Martin.
Instead,
Bluff me, huh?
he waves the cape beautifully.
6 players remain at the Hollywood Poker Open. We're coming back with more action in just a moment here on the World Poker Tour.
One of the best players in the world today, Chris Bell.
I remember the first couple of times I got here, like I really wanted to win a title.
The bell has finally been cracked.
Just wasn't meant to be for him to capture his first WPT title tonight.
At this point in my life, I kind of keep count with money. If they paid more for second, I'd try to get second. But if they paid more for first, I'm going to try to get first.
From St. Paul's, North Carolina, Chris Bell.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. And Mike, is it just me, or is Chris Bell's hillbilly accent getting stronger and stronger the more he's away from us?
Well, I love that line. If they paid more for second place, I'd try to get second. In truth, Vince, it really is all about the money out here.
All right, welcome back. Carlos Mortensen, our chip leader. Down to the felt we go. Frank Callow out of Liverpool, New York, folding. Mike Mustafa also out.
Round to Jerry Payne. He looks at the 10-5 of clubs. He's going to fold.
Yep, and here's the Matador.
Now our chip leader looks down at ace-jack on the button.
45.
And he's going to raise it to 45,000.
Into Ravi, the young 23-year-old online player, quickly mucks.
Well, he folds an ace-deuce suited, Vince.
But Chris Bell's going to stick around.
And he's got those suited connectors you like to see flops with, and here comes a flop. Queen 9-3. Chris out in front now with the 2-9.
He got a piece of it, and he's going to check.
And look at this. Carlos checks right behind him. Just has an uncanny sense of feeling when he's beat, and that's exactly the case right here.
Yeah, he is beat, and now Chris finally having to bet.
And he's betting 35,000, a very small bet, into a pot that's got 112,000 in it, but just letting Carlos know I've got a little something.
Chris darting the eyes over to the Matador.
I know you don't have 8-3.
8-3 would be good right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, indeed it would.
But I know you don't have that.
Good assumption there.
Yeah, these two guys are actually good friends off the table, but
All right. Yeah.
Carlos is going to lay it down, and here's a case where Carlos didn't make a continuation bet.
Show the 9.
Show the 9 or the 8.
Nice one.
Just felt like he might have got out flopped there, and that was the case.
Now, what's amazing is Carlos said, show me the 9. You know, if I asked someone to show me a 9 when they didn't have to show it, they never do it. How does he do that?
Well, he's the only player in the world that's won the main event of the World Series of Poker and the main event on the World Poker Tour. So when you have that kind of status, you get respect. People do what you ask them to.
Evidently. All right, back to the felt we go. Jerry Payne, a quick fold. And Carlos going to take a breather, goes out. Ravi also folding.
Now back to Chris Bell. Picks up a nice hand here. Got 2 10s. He's going to raise it. Makes it 60,000 to go.
Into Frank Callow.
And the 22-year-old poker pro out of New York folds.
They call him Frank the Tank, by the way.
Now Mike Mustafa is going to make the call here out of the big blind with the king-jack. So here comes a flop. Ace, ace-6. Chris still out in front with the 2-10. Action on Mike. He's going to check.
Now, Chris, will he make the continuation bet? No, he checks there. Kind of surprising.
When a king comes off, Mike has the lead now with aces and kings. Action is on him. And he is now going to bet 65,000. Well, to compound Chris's problems.
Oh, boy.
He not only didn't bet on the flop, he's now paying off the guy when his hand is beat.
Okay, river card. Can Chris get lucky? No, it just gets worse.
Well, the board pairs king, so Mike has kings full, but leery that Chris might have been slow playing 3 aces on the flop, so he checks, and Chris Bell can only beat now something like 2 7s or 2 8s, so he checks also, and he is not going to like the way he played this hand. I promise you that. You might say the bell cracked here a little, Vince.
Chris Bell not taking that one. Mustafa taking the pot.
Chris, you look like you got sick of that rhythm.
Well, he who hesitates lose big pots, as you can see.
Well, there you see the look on Chris Bell's face. It says it all. He knows he misplayed this hand.
All right, 6 players remain here at the Hollywood Poker Open. We're coming back with more action here on the World Poker Tour.
I went to school at University of Illinois in Champaign, and there's tons of other players from that area, too. Andy Seth, he just finished runner-up in the Bay 101 in San Jose. And then the legend, obviously, Faraz Jaka. He FT'd the Bellagio Cup and then the 5 Diamond. He's pretty remarkable at this game. There's no question that it's maybe the player I am today, knowing those kids.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Hollywood Poker Open continues.
Well, Faraz Jaka is currently the WPT Player of the Year, leader in points. And there you see another University of Illinois poker player, Ty Ryman, who finished 8th in this tournament. And Vince, I'll tell you one thing. I'd hate to have been in that dorm playing in that poker game. Wow, what talent.
Tough competition. And so at this final table, too, Carlos Mortensen, our chip leader. He's first to act right here. The Matador looks down at a 9-7 and folds. Ravi and Chris Bell also going away.
Over to Frank Kahlo, 22-year-old poker pro out of New York. Looks at King Jack of Diamonds, going to raise it, makes it 45,000 to go.
Into the former car salesman, Mike Mustafa, who's got a big hand, Ace King.
Yep, he's got Big Slick in the small blind, so.
I raise.
He's coming over the top. Let's see how much he's going to bet.
Quit the car salesman business to play poker. Been successful so far, and here's the raise.
Like 157,000 in total.
Jerry Payne out. Frank from Liverpool, New York, only 22 years old.
Yeah, these guys are second and third in chips. Not sure Frank wants to get involved with the King Jack here. And he doesn't. So he's going to lay it down. So Mike Mustafa taking down that pot by raising it up. And Vince, he says he's looking forward to taking his family on vacation with the prize money wins here, wherever he finishes. That's a nice thing.
I'm waiting for you to make one of your patented pushes.
Well, I shove on you, I'll have the blade every time.
Oh, if you would have did it, you would have been in bad shape there.
All right, and with that hand, the ante's going up to 3,000. Blinds 12 and 24. Action on Chris Bell. And he quickly folds a junk hand.
Over to Frank, he folds as well. Mike throws away the suited connectors there, the 8-7 of hearts.
And now it's on Jerry Payne, and he will not play. So around the horn to Carlos Mortensen.
Looks down at a big hand here in the small blind, 2 10s. But look at this, Vince. He just calls, does not raise, trying to camouflage the strength of his hand, and he's done so. Robbie says, okay, I'll see a flop. He's got the Jack-9. And a Jack comes right on the flop. Ravi has taken the lead.
Oh, boy. Things backfiring for Carlos, but he's going to put in a bet of 30,000. He's going to be kicking himself.
Well, Ravi.
Ship it, Ravi.
Caps his hand. His buddy Ty Ryman says ship it. Doesn't have any idea what he has, of course. But he has top pair.
All in.
And he does ship it.
How much is that?
$2.99.
Carlos says, how much is that? Well, Carlos now going to try to extract some information from him. Says you wouldn't do that with a 5, would you?
What's interesting here is this is Carlos in his, like, sweet Spanish manner, sort of sweet-talking Ravi. He wants to get information, and look how he's doing it so subtly.
You show me A4? That means no, right?
He's kind of whispering sweet nothings into Ravi's ear.
That means yes. You show.
I don't show.
This is beautiful.
He says he doesn't show.
Send him a little box of candy while you're at it.
So thanks. So that means you want me to call.
Oh,
well,
man.
He's figured the puzzle out, that's for sure. Because the guy would want you to call if he saw your hand.
I guess you have the checks.
Wow.
Carlos takes his time, analyzes things perfectly.
I can't show that one.
Flash draw?
Huh?
Flash draw? Flash draw?
2 pair.
I can't say.
2 pair. No, he didn't have, but he had like Jack 7 or
Jack
something.
5, man. Where are you going?
No. Jack 7? Unclose? Just say unclose or no.
See, this is something I've forgotten how great of a sweet talker Carlos is.
You have the Jack.
I either had a Jack or I had a... All right.
Just uncanny how Carlos seems to know when he's beat.
Yeah, no, you at least got the club draw or you had the Jack. But it looks like more like you have the Jack.
Carlos? It was only 300,000. Was 30 yellow chips. That's it.
It's like he gives players truth serum and they tell him everything he wants to know.
As you know, to be a really great poker player, you got to have what we call feel for the game, and very few in the world have better feel than Carlos Mortensen.
All right, to the next hand we go. 3 folds in a row, and Frank Callow as well.
Again, Mike Mustafa picks up ace-king.
60.
This time he's in the small blind. He's going to raise it to 60,000.
Into the local. Jerry Payne, the short stack, peaks down to a queen 10.
Mullen.
Call.
Well, he's going all in. He's quickly called, so he knows he's up against it here. As the cards lie, he's about a 2-to-1 dog to win this spot and stay alive. And that's a quick trivia question. 2 poker players are Hall of Fame poker players from Dayton, Ohio. Who are they?
One of them is you, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay.
Who's the other?
I don't know. I'm in the middle of this hand. Here we go. Queen 10 versus ace king.
Well, flop comes 8-6-3 with 2 spades. So Mike's still out in front with the ace high. Jerry Payne needs some help or he's going to be our 6th place finisher.
And an ace of diamonds.
Jerry Payne gets a pretty good card there.
7 of spade comes off.
Got the king
Well,
of
Jerry's
spades.
not crazy about it because there's 3 spades out there and Mike has the king of spade, meaning the queen of spade, the 10 of spade, the 9 of spade won't help him now. Must catch a queen, 10, or a 9 offsuit to win this pot and stay alive.
He's picked up
Adam Sandler clone needs some luck on the river. Can he get it?
Nope, the board pair 7s. So that's going to do it for Jerry Payne. He's our 6th place finisher. And Vince, the second half of that trivia question is Chip Reese.
All right, and there you have it. Jerry Payne, living up to his name, picks up 88,000, and just like that, we are down to 5 at the Hollywood Poker Open.
My play's fine. I have less than 20 big blinds. He has to have a big hand to call me and did.
Mr. Mortensen, I might be able to bust you, though.
Yeah, you're in Florida with 2 balls, man.
All right, Carlos, let's rock and roll.
Will the soft-talking Matador take this title? We're coming back with more action here on the World Poker Tour. Stay with us. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Hollywood Poker Open continues. 5-handed action.
And Vince, it's great to be in the Midwest playing a WPT event, no doubt about it. We're in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, which is just a few miles outside Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cheers, pal.
Yes, it is. 5 players remain, and our chip leader now is Mike Mustafa, the former car salesman. But right now, Carlos Mortensen, the Matador, goes to work. He folds.
Yeah, for the first time tonight, a new chip leader, and he's from the Midwest.
Ravi also out, so it's up to Chris Bell.
I'm on 228.
Who says all in with a pair of 9s.
Well, Chris on the short stack, just moving in with the 2 9s.
It's up to Frank the Tank Callow.
And he picks up an ace high, Benson. He's a little suspicious. Chris might be a little bit of a desperado here, making a move with anything. May think his ace high is the best hand, but he lays it down.
Yep. Chip leader Mike going out. So just like that, Chris Bell going to take down a pot.
Yeah, the poker pro from Raleigh. Finally stacking some chips up.
Chris Bell, 38 years old. 3rd WPT final table. He's always entertaining. But let's go back to this hand. Now on Ravi Raghavan.
Yeah, he looks down at 2 6s. He's got 450,000 in chips right now, sitting in 4th place.
Oh,
And he's going to push all in, Mike.
Wow, big bet.
Chris Bell with ace-7, not hesitating, goes out, as does Frank the Tank.
Yeah, Mike squeezing off an ace. And then a 5.
No, bombs away for him.
Yeah, Carlos shaking his head. He's got the 9-8 suited, but
Robbie, the
you can't
first
call an
card.
all-in bet there.
Ace of spades, the first card. I had it. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, this was an ace.
my first card was an ace, too.
Was it?
Ace of diamonds.
So Ravi, the great online player, taking down that pot with a smile.
Nice hand, Robbie.
Yeah, just not fooling around with 2 6s, just moving in with him. Said, boys, if you can beat it, good luck to you.
And as you can see there, Mike Mustafa with close to 1.5 million. The Matador. Carlos Mortensen with about 1.2. Back down to the money pit we go. Frank the Tank first to act.
Well, Frank's sitting in 3rd chip position right now. Looks at a Jack 9 here. And he's going to open the pot in 1st position under the gun for $62,000 with the Jack 9 offsuit.
Yeah, he is starting to open up his game here. But right behind him, former car salesman Mike Mustafa with King Queen is going to call.
Actually quit his job to play poker, and that's a daring move when you're the father of 4 girls, Vince. 16, 12, 6, and 3. I can tell you that. It's not easy being a poker pro as a family man, because there's so much more pressure on you to win.
But he's been successful so far. But in this hand, both Carlos and Ravi out. And Chris Bell's thinking about it, but finally folds an ace-4. So we have 2-handed action. Jack 9 up against King Queen. Who will get lucky?
And flop comes ace 9 5. So Frank out in front now with the 2 9s. Action's on him. And he is going to bet $76,000 and hope his opponent doesn't have an ace.
Frank the Tank putting down the double barrel of the tank.
Oh, Mike just staring him down. Just thinking to himself, you know, I wonder if I raise this guy, if I could take it away from him. Mike opts to fold and give the pot up. So nice aggression by Frank Callow. Takes the pot down for him there.
Being only 22 years old. Out of Liverpool, New York. That's just north of Syracuse.
He's played 4 WPT events. This his 3rd cash out of 4. That's impressive stuff.
All right back on it. Ravi this time with an uneventful Jack 3. Mucks his hand. Chris Bell also out.
Action back on Frank. He's on the button. He's got a 9-7 offsuit, but because he has position, he's going to pop it up here and make it $62,000 to go.
Just a 9-7.
That call.
Mike out, but Carlos going to stick around with a Jack 9 of clubs.
Now Frank has got to learn that Carlos is a defender. He's just not giving up his hands every time. Well, flop comes Queen 7-3, so Frank has out-flopped him. He's now got 2 7s. Carlos has nothing, of course, and checks. And Frank says, you may be Carlos Mortensen, but I'm betting anyway. $73,000.
Carlos the defender, but Frank the Tank is the catcher at this point.
Carlos very capable of coming over the top here, but opts to lay it down. Gives him credit for having something, which he does.
There's Frank's buddies, Frick and Frack, rooting him on.
Well, why not? Frank's on a roll right now.
I've only been 21 for like a year, and I've gone deep. Now we're here. It definitely will establish my name a lot more. Before I was just like the random kid who, just plays the stuff and just, goes deep sometimes. But, if I actually win this, then it'll say, hey, this kid can play.
From Syracuse, New York, Frank Callow.
The combination of the facility that we offer and the partnership with the World Poker Tour make the Hollywood Casino Poker Room just a fabulous place to play poker. And we offer a lot of variety in terms of the games that we offer and a lot of variety in terms of the limits, and the setting and the experience that we provide in our poker room just make for such a comfortable place to come and play.
Life is good here at Hollywood.
At Hollywood Casino, we deliver as good a poker experience as any casino in the country.
Welcome back to the Hollywood Poker Open. And Mike, you look pretty happy there.
Well, I actually had a good trip here at the Hollywood Casino. It is a lavish poker room, really as nice as any in the world.
You guys are all too serious here. We're only playing for $400,000. That's just 1 month's rent for Carlos. Mortgage payment.
I say let's play winner takes all. You guys, you don't want it.
I play winner takes all.
All right, we go. Heads up, we can do that.
Oh, back to the fell Carlos wanting to play winner take all, Mike.
Well, they're saying we're only playing for $400,000 here, so Carlos said, well, we can sweeten that. We can play for it all. But anytime you have a diverse chip differential like we have here, that is never going to happen. So it's just gibberish.
All right, to the table we go. Frank Callow has raised with a pair of 6s. And everyone folds. Frank the Tank continuing the onslaught. He is fighting back nicely, this young guy.
He is a tough poker player, Vince. You make the money 3 out of 4 times in WPT events, I'm telling you, you got some game.
And they've been playing for 4 days. Very tough poker. And this time, Ravi in first position with a pair of fives.
Well, Ravi's a graduate of the University of Illinois, majored in economics.
All in.
Well, he's gone all in here with the 2 fives.
Chris Alp Tank with a pair of kings.
All in.
Right back at him, says all in.
Wow. Only call with one hand here.
Mike.
You don't have that one hand.
Flying away.
Now, Carlos now looking down for 2 aces. He better hope he doesn't find 2 queens.
Gosh.
Might have a problem here.
Looking good.
He's squeezing like he wanted one, but Carlos, believe me, you didn't want one. That's because Frank has 2 kings. Ravi has 2 fives.
Frank the Tank with more chips, practically twice as many chips. So Ravi,
Queens last night,
in a horrible position right now, needs to get lucky.
Good luck, Rob.
He's going to need luck here to stay alive. He's going to have to make a straight, catch some kind of 5, do something, but he needs help.
Here's the flop. No luck for Ravi on that one.
And flop comes queen 10-4. That means he must catch a 5 to stay alive in this tournament.
5 of diamonds gonna come out.
And ace of spade comes off, so we are down to the river.
So Frank the Tank trying to take down another village here. One more card away from knocking out Ravi.
Well, Ravi needs a 5 on the river. Doesn't get it as the 7 of clubs comes off. So that's going to do it for the Fighting Illini guy. Ravi Raghavan is going to be our 5th place finisher tonight.
Shakes hands, picks up 105,000, and walks away.
I looked down at the pair and I just shoved. And Frank, you know, it happens. He woke up with a bigger pair and I lost. I don't know if it was a good shove, but it happened, so.
4 players remain at the World Poker Tour at the Hollywood Poker Open. We're coming back with more action in just a moment. Welcome back to Hollywood Casino in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, where the Hollywood Poker Open is in full swing.
It's still anybody's game, so let's get back to the action.
Right now, we have a new chip leader. That would be Frank the Tank Callow. With close to 1.5 million. Actually was on him. He quickly folds his hand.
Yep, he just busted out Ravi to take the chip lead at this final table.
Mike going out, so around the horn to Carlos the Matador Mortensen.
Only make me look, Carlos.
Going after his 3rd WPT title. Trying to make some poker history here.
I move on in.
Well, he says he's all in, but in truth, he's only putting up 225,000 there because that's all that Chris Bell has. So Chris folds his hand, and Carlos takes down the pot.
Well, that is the dramatic Spaniard in him, you know. Just say all in, ole, and move on.
Well, Vince, there you see the 2 guys whose records Carlos is chasing tonight. Daniel Negreanu is the all-time money leader on the World Poker Tour. If Carlos finishes 2nd tonight, he'll take that. He's also trying to tie Gus Hansen as the most number of titles on the World Poker Tour with 3. Potential poker history in the making tonight, right here at the Hollywood Casino.
60,000.
I got 195 total. I'm on him.
Carlos in this hand with a pair of 4s has raised. Over the top goes Chris Bell. Tank has gone out.
You already don't get the 60 back, so.
That looks like ace high. I call.
And Carlos has called it.
Looks like ace what?
Ace high?
I thought you called it exact. I thought you said ace-9.
That looks like ace high, I say.
Well, we've got the classic race situation, the 2 overcards versus the under pair. Chris Bell with the ace-9, Carlos with the 2 4s. Chris Bell must win this pot to stay alive in this tournament.
Let me have the pain later.
Give me 4 more grays instead of the yellows.
So Chris Bell needs some help to stay alive. And the flop comes 6-5-4. So if it doesn't come 2 winning diamonds or a 7 and an 8, it's going to be history for Chris Bell here. Carlos flops 3 4s. Well, there is a diamond on the turn.
195, Carlos.
So it is not
Give me 195,
over.
please.
6 of diamonds.
195.
Well, the 10 of spades on the river. So that's going to do it for Poker Pro Chris Bell. He's going to be our 4th place finisher.
I'll tell you, good luck.
He gave it a shot. He goes home with close to 125,000. Always a good sport. the very talented Chris Bell says goodnight.
Yep, heading back to the Tri-City.
Yeah, I mean, I'm moving with any ace, any two big cards there. Carlos could have had anything there, you know. I'm happy getting into flipping that spot with him, you know. I need to win a couple hands early, and I didn't, so, you know. Fourth is not bad, I don't guess.
All right, we are down to three-handed poker.
Everybody has like 1.4, something like that?
I got 1.4.
1.4? Yes, he has the rest.
Yeah, he has the rest. So it's almost an even table. Each one of us still got to play.
Vance, I don't believe we've ever had 3 players left in a WPT tournament where they've been this close in chip count.
Last chance to make a winner-take-all.
All of them sitting right around 1.4 million.
That is pretty amazing. All right, all smiles. Cards being dealt. Action's going to be on Carlos.
Carlos going for poker history tonight. Could become the all-time money winner on the World Poker Tour if he finishes 1 spot higher than where he's at right now.
Carlos picks up ace-8 of hearts.
60,000.
Makes it 60,000 to go. Frank going out. And Mike with a...
He's got a 9-8 fence, but he does drive you crazy the way he squeezes his cards. I know that. So Carlos has made it 60,000 to go. Mike with the 9-8 is going to make the call.
All right, he's making a statement here. You can't push me around. Let's see what happens.
I'll tell you, even though the blinds are 12 and 24,000, with everybody having over 1.4 million in chips, they've got a lot of chips to play with here. So you don't have to panic. You don't have to get in any hurry.
Well, look at this. Mike has hit the pair of 9s. He's first to act.
Pretty amazing. He had 1 overcard here, and he's hit it to take the lead.
Nothing hitting for Carlos, of course.
The question is, do you check raise here, or you just go ahead and lead out and bet? Mike's going to lead out and bet.
Yes, he is. It looks like 82,000.
Well, when you raise pre-flop and all of a sudden the guy leads out on the flop, you always scratch your head and say, why is the guy doing this? If he had a real big hand, he'd check to me. Let me think about this. And you can see Carlos glancing at him, thinking exactly that same thing. But again, Carlos making the good lay down here as his opponent flops 2 9s and out flops in.
So the former car salesman Mike Mustafa got in this tournament through a $1,200 satellite.
Good call, Carlos. Where's your pre-flop? Oh, you definitely have a pre-flop. Yeah, raise high.
3 players remain at the Hollywood Poker Open. Coming back for more action in just a moment. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Hollywood Poker Open continues. 3-handed action. And the former car salesman Mike Mustafa is now the chip leader with close to 1.5 million.
Well, as you can see, we've got a good one going here. All players have about the same amount of chips, so this should be good. Carlos Morton's, of course, going for poker history tonight. Can become the all-time money leader on the World Poker Tour if he finishes in 2nd place or better, and can tie Gus Hansen for most WPT titles if he wins here tonight.
Well, it's on Frank the Tank. The 22-year-old with King-Queen raises it to 62,000. Mike Mustafa out.
Action over on Carlos. He looks down at an ace-5. 22-year-old staring him down.
Michael.
Carlos is going to make the call. Right now he's out in front with the ace-high. Here comes the flop. Oh, what a flop for Frank. He's flopped 3 kings as it comes king, king, 8. Action is on Carlos.
82,000.
Just perfect for the Tank. And Carlos is betting. What a beautiful position for Frank the Tank.
Carlos betting 82,000 here. And Frank knows he doesn't have an ace-king because he'd have re-raised him before the flop. So he knows he has the best hand. The question is, do you just call here? Are you fearful your opponent's got a flush draw? Yep, he's going to walk the dog, as we say. He's just going to call and let Carlos continue to have the lead here.
I check.
But Carlos slowing down, says, I check in the dark. 3 of clubs on the turn.
Well, there is a possible flush out there now. So Frank is somewhat leery of that, I'm sure. But still, with 3 kings, you got to feel like you have the best hand, especially when you got the queen of clubs to draw at the flush.
Does the Tank advance forward? Just a few chips. Or would he just check it back? That is the question.
Well, he's going to check.
Gonna play it slow.
And here comes the river card. Jack of diamonds, no help to either player.
235,000.
235,000 is the bet by the Matador. Vance, I don't see any way Frank is getting away from this hand, do you?
No chance. You start thinking to yourself, possibly raise? No, you can't get paid off unless the guy has you beat. Do you call? Yes. Do you fold? No chance.
Well, the man has to have a flush or full house to have you beat. So.
Frank the Tank from Syracuse, New York, taking his time. He's got to love this, though.
He's going to make the call. So for the first time tonight, the Matador makes a slightly wrong move, Vince.
Wrong time.
And just like in the bullfights on the poker table, once in a while, the Matador gets nipped a little bit by the bull.
And there is the Tank's friend Zip and Pip cheering wildly for their young friend. So right now, the ante's still 3,000, but blind's going up to 15 and 30,000. And back to this hand, Mustafa with a quick fold, and Carlos Mortensen now with an ace-jack. Not going to raise, just calling. And Frank the Tank with ace-deuce, content to see the flop. Here we go.
Well, here comes the flop. King 5-4. Carlos still has the best hand with ace-jack, but
60,000.
He's going to fire out there 60,000. But Frank with the wheel draw, as we say, the 5-high straight draw, even though it's a gut shot, going to make the call.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Carlos pushing a little bit here. Let's see if he can get lucky. No.
Well, deuce of hearts comes off.
That helps Frank. Pair of deuces. Carlos checking.
Well, Carlos has to suspect the guy's got some type of pair or straight draw if he called him on the flop.
Yeah, Frank also checks. We're going to the river.
Well, river card is the 7 of hearts.
Check.
Carlos is going to check and going to lose this pot to 2 deuces.
2 5s is good.
And I'll tell you something. The Arroz con Pollo is getting a little cold here for Carlos. Things turning around a little bit.
Well, he's a little bit unlucky in that hand, no doubt about it. But you're right, Vince. Carlos not faring well so far in this 3-handed poker game.
Let's go, Frank. Nice hand, Frank.
Oh, boy, these flunkies rooting on Frank the Tank as he extends his chip lead.
The Matador is turning a little bit red here because he's on the downhill slide in this 3-handed poker game. See if he can get things turned around.
Back to the hands. Frank the Tank this time first to act. He has Jack 9. Gonna push. Makes it 75,000. Mustafa ejects.
Well, he's getting out of the way. These two are just having a nice little feud right now. So Mike's just saying, I'm just going to step back and just let them continue to clash.
Carlos with ace-6.
Carlos has flopped bottom pair with top kicker, but checks. Frank has flopped an open-end straight draw. And the question is, do you bet this? Or your opponent might check raise you out of the pot, or you take the free card off? Well, he's opting to take the free card. So here comes that turn card, and it's the joker for Frank.
Oh, wow.
He's made the absolute nuts, the best hand possible, the queen high straight. Well, again, Carlos checks bottom pair. I believe Frank has to bet here if he wants the chance to win any kind of a real big pot. You're just not going to win a big pot if you just check it on any street.
And the Tank bets 125,000 into the Matador. He's starting to slip on his red cape here a little bit.
So he's got to hope that Carlos made a bottom straight or has got 2 pair or some kind of big hand. Flush draw where he's going to make a move and come over the top. Lynch has not been very lucky so far in the short-handed game. He does make a good lay down here, though. So Frank Callow continues to go up. Carlos Mortensen continues to decline.
And with that hand, that's all we have time for tonight. But be sure to be with us next time when we crown our first ever champion of the Hollywood Poker Open.
Well, Vance, Carlos has taken some hits, but don't count out the Matador.
Well, he's still got a shot at poker history, but these 2 other guys aren't worried about record books. They are hungry to take down their first WPT title.
For Vince Van Patten and everyone at the World Poker Tour, I'm Mike Sexton saying thanks for watching. And until next time, may all your cards be live and your pots be monsters. I don't understand what this is for here.